Hi, I'm a few minutes early. I just wanted to get ready and be waiting for everybody or somebody. I'm looking forward to this, so I'm going to just mute myself and I'll be back at the top of the hour. Hi, I see a few people have joined us. I'm just waiting till the top of the hour to start. Thank you so much. You can feel free to put a comment in the chat, say hello. I'm also streaming live to several channels at once, so I don't necessarily know where you're watching from. And I don't know whether everybody can. It's saying maybe some people can, some people can't. Pages can, groups can read but not post. So if you're on a Facebook group, if you're on YouTube, everybody can read and post, looks like. So, okay, welcome. It's 1 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Lynda Lamp, and I'm here to start reading for you my book, Walking Through Your Walls, Loving Yourself and Everyone Else. Here's a hard copy version of that. One nice thing about the hard copy, I just really like to show this to people, is that when you take the jacket off, you get the same artwork. A lot of hard copies, it's just a plain book. But hey, Mary, thank you so much for joining me. It's such an honor to have you with me on this walk I'm taking. Here's a paperback version, and that's what I'm going to be reading from. It's a little easier to handle for doing this work. So first of all, I said my name is Lynda Lamp. That's actually my pen name. And the Lamp is actually an acronym for my 4 names altogether. My first name, my middle name, my maiden name, and then my married name. And that spells Lamp. And there's a funny story about my name, which I'm not going to take time to go into now, but maybe in the Q&A, we'll talk about it. It's a funny story from my childhood, really. So I think let's not waste too much time and let's get started. This book is the first volume of what is intended to be a multi-volume set. And as we're going through this, you'll discover that I have some chapters in this book about the chakras. And what the next book that will come out will be the complete chakra set. The chapters from this book, and then all the chapters out of the next 2 or 3 volumes that are still to come. And then volume 2 is almost done. And once we get the chakra books out, I'll get the volume 2 going. So thank you so much to everybody that's here. I really am so honored. I'm going to read the dedication. This book is dedicated to you, my reader, that you may find your true way in this 3rd dimensional realm to the power of the universe within you, that you become all that you can, all that you dream, rather, of the core in your being, the dreams you don't share with anybody because they seem too big, too impossible, too beyond reach. Nothing is beyond your reach. As long as your dreams resonate with the good of the whole and your desire to be the best you can become, there's nothing you can't do. This book is dedicated to you and your pursuit of your dreams. On a personal note, this book is dedicated to my grandchildren and all the children of the world. May you find this handbook useful. And as we know, uh, it does seem like the upcoming generations are the ones that are actually going to save the world. I think all the flower children thought they were going to, but I don't think we've done such a great job. Acknowledgements. This book has been made possible by every single human being who has ever crossed my path. From my mother, where I started, to the doctor who cut her open to rescue me, to the very last person I've interacted with. Every single person, every single moment, and everything in between has led me to the penning of this acknowledgement. Whether you are someone I see every day or you're one of the many people who may think, I knew this woman once, I acknowledge and thank you. I love you all, and I love the contribution that you have made in my becoming. The person I will acknowledge by name is my beloved husband, Paul, who indeed is my spirit mate. The person I searched for from day one, the person I was meant to find, and the person who has provided me the nurturing and loving environment that has allowed me to evolve. He totally supports my life mission and joins me in sharing the beautiful splendor of life as much and with as much of humanity as we can reach, either through our small lodging business or through these books and my speaking and coaching. For the role each of you has played, I acknowledge and thank you for the depth of my spirit and soul. Namaste. My favorite translation of Namaste is I honor the place in you, which is of light, love, and peace and joy. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. Since writing this book, I've gone through the process of being branded by a marketing person. And as a byproduct of that, they came up with, it was a team actually, and they came up with a term, illuminating wholeness, which is my soul mission. And so I didn't have that phrase when I was writing this, or I would have included that here. I'm not going to read the entire table of contents to you. One thing before I go any further, I want to just mention that since I was about 13, I think I was 13 when the first person said to me, oh, you need to write your life story. You need to write a book. You need to write a book. A lot of people said you need to write a life story. A lot of people said you need to write a book. When I sat down to write this book, I thought what I was going to write was my life story. What came out, as you will find, is something completely different. So for those of you, I know there are many of you are still waiting for the life story. I'll share bits and pieces as we go along. And eventually, I suppose I will write the life story, but it's not about my life. And that's why you'll see this is what came out. This is what I'm here for, to share with you. A special invitation to you, my beloved reader. I am here to support you in your quest for knowledge and understanding of how to live consciously in the 21st century. Making changes can feel like a daunting task, but you are not alone and without help. I am here, and I will connect you with other like-minded people. We are all in this together. This book series, unlike any other, I intend to take advantage of technology and keep these books as current as possible. As I issue updates, you'll receive notices and the updates themselves. I would be humbled and honored if you would opt into my mailing list. To do so, please visit walkingthroughyourwalls.com and sign up. So that has really changed now. You can go to walkingthroughyourwalls.com and you'll be taken to Lynda Lamp and the page for Walking Through Your Walls. But specifically right now, at this moment in time, the sign-up feature is not working on that website. I just discovered that today. I have no idea when it broke. So if you are not on the current mailing list and want to get on it, I would suggest the best thing to do would be to send me a text message with your email address and just say, you know, I'd like to get on your Lynda Lamp mailing email list, something like that. So I know it's not a spam email, and I will, I'll add you to the mailing list manually until I get that problem fixed. I'm having the website rebuilt right now. So when the new one comes out, that problem will be fixed. You'll receive notices about updates to the book, newly released videos, discussion groups, and more. I'm also available for workshops, speaking events, and consulting sessions, long distance and in person. In person, I do have a UVC light filter, so we could do a socially distanced in person. Most of my things have been done via Zoom lately, as you all know. Everybody's Zooming. My author website is lyndalamp.com. Please visit the book's Facebook page, and also join the conversation. And you can feel free to post your comments, questions, and thoughts as you read this book. And really any of the places that you find discussions. I look forward to hearing from you and walking through your walls. Namaste, Lynda Lamp. Overview of this handbook. Due to the size of this handbook, it's been broken down into multiple volumes. Although they are intended to be read in order, each volume can also stand on its own. Here is a brief overview of the current volume, subject to change, of course. Volume 1, which is the one we're going to be walking through or reading through today and in the next coming weeks, walking through your walls from one wall to another, and includes the halls of history and the walls of life. Volume 1 lays the foundations for a shift in consciousness. This volume is a great starting place if you're new to the idea that there is something more going on here in the third dimension. This volume contains introductory exercises in presence and mindfulness. It starts a review of your chakra energy system, and there is a supplement with 7 tools to get you started walking through your walls. Volume 2, walking through your walls from walls to windows, the tools of life and the way to love. Volume 2 will details the tools available to you for making the shift in consciousness and awakening. It gives practical examples of the application of the tools in the arenas of self-love and love of others. This volume is the core of the the handbook, and should become an invaluable book in your library. And then Volume 3, walking through your walls from windows to doors, the way to health, walking a new walk, and making a new world. Volume 3 contains sections of the handbook that give you new systems and structures to employ to create the new world we all want, starting first with our health, then a world of peace, harmony, and love. Volume 3 is ideal for more advanced spirits who are experienced in the practice of presence and oneness and ready to start walking their light out into the world, spreading the message of unconditional infinite love and oneness through the practice of mindfulness and consciousness. Volume 3 starts with the fundamentals of getting healthy and becoming a model of the principles of self-love and infinite love of others. For until you have that love, true health will elude you. Volume 3 provides several new systems or structures you can employ to create tangible change in your external world. Angels Care, Inc., Love by Light, and We Love Us. Those are all acronyms, too. Those names are made up of acronyms. The sections of the handbook correlate to the human energetic chakra system. If you're familiar with the chakras, they will be meaningful. If you are not familiar with the chakras system, no worry, you'll learn as we go along together. It is my hope that everyone will find something of value in each volume, but feel free to start with the volume that resonates best with your studies and experience. Blessed are the cracked, for they let in the light. That was actually Groucho Marx, although Leonard Cohen has a very similar quote. Okay, we've made it to the preface. And just for everybody who's with us and maybe watching later, I'm anticipating that we'll spend about an hour together today. And then on Tuesdays at the same time, my plan is to hold Q&A sessions. And I'll come on and I'll be here for as long as there are people showing up. If I come and nobody has any questions or answers, then I'll end the live session fairly quickly. So please do, if you're planning on coming and you think you might be a few minutes late, please let me know so that I don't rush to say, okay, well, there's nobody here. Because I am here for you. I'm doing this for you and for anyone that you would like to include. Please send them an invite. So here's the preface. And I just want to show you the page. The graphic artist, Nicole, did such a beautiful job laying out this book. It's really quite lovely. She has little hearts all kinds of places. The important thing is to not, this is a quote from Albert Einstein, the important thing is to not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Again, Albert Einstein. You need a manual to life. We all do, don't we? Some kind of operator's manual or handbook. Douglas Adams gave us one, A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. But seriously, wouldn't it be helpful to have a real handbook? That's what this 3-volume series is. Humanity's Handbook for Living Consciously. This book is for you. Every single one of you. As such, it's written in a certain way so it can be relatable to everyone. That I have found to be a bit of a challenge. We must find some common ground to stand upon while we take the questions and study of the creation of life in this physical 3-dimensional reality deeper and further than ever before. I go into the following concepts in greater detail in the chapter titled Deconstructing Religion. But just for a moment, I want to cover a few changes in language that I'll be using throughout the book. What I'm asking you to do is be open-minded. Please do not judge me or the words, but allow them to just be. Allow your body and heart to sit with them, instead of allowing your mind to rush to judgment. Some of what I suggest may not be easy to accept at first. Don't worry about memorizing the list below. As each term comes up in the handbook, I'll review the term again. It's my hope that as you get to know me through these writings, you'll come to feel and believe that I have only your best and greatest interests at heart, and that you'll come to know that I am one of the most religious and spiritual people you may ever meet. I hope to show you that what it truly means to embody the messages the ascended masters teach. In this book, I will use the following terms: Ah, and the all that is, in place of the word God. This will also replace references to the void. There is no void, but I reference it because others believe in it. We'll go into Ah in greater detail in Volume 1, Chapter 6, Deconstructing Religion. Briefly, Ah is the sound most of the traditional words for God make, in addition to playing on the sound of an aha moment. While spelled differently, the sound is basically the same. Parent, our shared parent, great parent, also great one mind, in place of references to Father, or the Holy Father. Yeshua ben Joseph, for Jesus, the man. Oneness, for all references to Christ. Isness, all that is, and oneness, consciousness, for references to Christ consciousness or conquering Christ, or any similar term that implies the that of God in each of us. Soul, as I use it, means your collective memory of your spirit in this life and all the other lives you have. It actually reads, and all the other life or lives you have. And if you're wondering why this is in present tense, we'll deal with that in section 2. It has to do with the fact that there's no such thing as time. So and I go into this in great detail, but just briefly, we can't have past and present lives. They are all concurrent. And so it's this life. It's all this life. Even the ones that you think are past lives, it's this life. But again, we'll go into that in greater detail later. Spirit, as I use it, means your energy that is you in this life's incarnation in the third dimension. Universe, as I use it, means all the physical matter that is, which is filled with the essence of Ah and the all that is. Source, as I use it, means Ah, the void, although as stated, this is not a concept I embrace. The all that is, or great one mind. That's what source, when I say source. It's all those things. Heavenly, celestial, or eternal life are words I use in place of divinity. I will explain all of this in greater detail. For now, please just suspend judgment and go with the flow. If we are going to learn things together, one of the things we need to do in this handbook is use words that can work, hopefully even in translation, to equalize language into something we can all relate to. Common ground is important. We are all one, so we need to find ways to communicate that transcend tradition. Thank you in advance for hanging in there with me. Here's a quote. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. And that's Mahatma Gandhi. The sections in this book, spread across 3 volumes, correlate to the human chakras energy system. At the end of some of the chapters within each section, there will be information about the chakras. You'll be given a high-level overview of this energy system and some tools to keep your energy centers clear. There are many philosophies about the chakra system dating back to ancient times. By the time you've completed all 7 sections, you'll have a rudimentary understanding of your chakra system. If you're already familiar with the chakra system, you may still find some interesting information. At a minimum, you'll have a refresher. The clearing statements may be helpful to anyone. A final note. You may want to have a pen and small notebook available as you're reading. There are exercises in the handbook, and you may want to make further note of your thoughts and feelings or questions you'd like to ask me. Confucius said, and remember, no matter where you go, there you are. All right, now we're into the introduction. And that starts, you'll find there are a lot of quotes in this book. I think that writing this, because it didn't end up being the story I thought it was going to be, this whole other thing happened. I was very reluctant to come forward with it. And I think by including so many quotes is a way of trying to show that, if you read something I've written and you think I'm crazy, I can give you 3 or 4 quotes right away that'll show you I'm not, or that there are at least other crazy people that think the same thing. You can look at it either way, I suppose. So, introduction. This is a quote from Alan Bennett. The best moments in reading are when you come across something, a thought, a feeling, a way of looking at things, which you had thought special and particular to you. And now here it is, set down by someone else, a person you have never met. And it is a hand has come out and taken yours. That is my intention with this book. Oh, how I hope those will be our hands joining as these words speak to you. Thank you. Thank you so much for however you came to be holding this book in your hands and reading this introduction. This book is honored. I am humbled and honored beyond words. This book can feel your hands cradling it. It truly loves the feel of your hands upon it. For it is a book, and it is meant to be held. It wants you to get great value from it, from its pages. It yearns to be a book you will treasure. The ink of these words can feel your eyes upon it and yearns for you to treasure the words it reveals, as do the paper pages. And in this case, the book knows that it's being used to participate in this activity, and it is beyond excited. I was given the gift of sight, not eyesight, although I do have that, but I also have an ability to see things beyond appearances. Some might say I can see systems at work. Others might say I have deep insight, or that I'm psychic or clairvoyant or a channel. I'm all of those things and more. I've actually gave up trying to describe it many years ago. It's too strange and convoluted, and it seems no one ever truly understands it, sometimes not even me. A coach I once worked with named me a universe whisperer. It fits so well that it became a name of my life coaching business, although that has all been rolled up into the brand now of Lynda Lamp. I still refer to myself occasionally as the universe whisperer. Lately, though, it seems that there's an army of light workers, healers, life coaches, peacemakers, love spreaders. Suddenly, I'm no longer the oddball, but one of the herd. It feels like a whole lot easier to stick my neck out with an idea. Now I stand in front of a room full of people and talk about how everything is illusion, and I don't get laughed off stage. I can say to you, there's no such thing as time, and instead of your eyes glazing over, you nod, because even if you don't understand how it works, you've heard the saying before. I was given my sight so that I may share it with you in the form of help, so that you might come also to see. Rumi said, we are all just walking each other home. In the years prior to finally sitting down to write this book, it's been on my to-do list for over 20 years. Well, you can imagine that people started telling me to do it when I was 13. I took a number of classes and workshops, and I worked with several life coaches. The question that came up every time from each teacher or coach was, who is your tribe? You need to market to your tribe. My answer was always the same. Humanity is my tribe. Everyone is my tribe. I can honestly say no one understood. You have to have a niche, I was told. They insisted. To that I say a resounding no. We are all one. That is my whole point. Every niche is a separation from the whole. I am speaking to the whole because we are all one. I know this from my personal experience, so no one can or ever will convince me differently. You see, life isn't what we know. It's what we experience. It's our experience that gives us true knowledge. Lately, there's a meme going around Facebook. The universe is my home, and all beings are my tribe, and oneness is my religion. This is the point I have always tried to make. Not only during the past few years have people seemed to become more open to the idea. And I'll just make a little side note here. I subscribe to Google alerts for certain words. So when certain words appear in editorials or articles that match what I've asked for, I get an email with a link to the article so I can see the context. So years ago, when the book came out, so that was 4 years ago, I signed up to track the word wholeness. And I can tell you that months would go by sometimes, and I wouldn't get a notice from Google that there was anything out there being published with the word wholeness. Now, I get an email, I would say at least once a week, and sometimes multiple times in a week. So things are changing, right? Continuing on with the introduction, you are an amazing being. Yes, you, the person holding this book, or in this case, watching this live stream, you are so powerful and so magnificent, capable of anything you set the good of your heart, mind, and energies to. You may not see that, but I do. I see you for all that you are. I see that you are limitless. I so hope the words on these pages speak to your heart. I would love to meet you. I wish we could sit together over a cup of tea or coffee and talk. I know we would have wonderful conversations. I have never met anyone I didn't love learning about. I wish I could learn all about you so that I could personally point out to the volume, sections, or chapters of the book series that will mean the most to you or that would be of the most interest. I hope you have already taken time to read the overview of this handbook, which will help you know which volume, what each volume contains. If not, you can go back and read it before proceeding to chapter 1. Although I would be honored if you read all 3 volumes, it's not necessary. It's certainly not possible yet. Feel free to jump to the volume that speaks to you if, however, you find that. See, this is the problem. When you write a 3-volume set, you have to write the first volume as if all 3 of them have been written. And that's difficult to be reading aloud now. If, however, you find you're having difficulty with implementing systems or achieving goals, you may find you need to go to an earlier volume. Each section of this handbook correlates to one of the chakras in the human energy system. As you go through the volumes and sections, I'll be giving you exercises to clear each of your 7 energy centers. And if you missed the note earlier, that will be the next thing that comes out, and it's almost ready. I have to send it to the editor. That's the next step. Each of you will come to this handbook with your own unique perspective, personal development level, and knowledge base. The challenge for me has been to put this together in such a way that each of you will find what you need. Galileo said, "We cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it within themselves." I am not here to teach you anything. I am here to help you find the answers you seek. You don't realize it, but everything you need, you already have. It is within you. I'm here to help you find your true self within you, and to bring your truth out so we can all enjoy the special and brilliant you that you are. This handbook for humanity is the beginning of a worldwide conversation about the systems we can put into place to bring you and everyone to a new place of understanding, peace, and harmony. Through this handbook, you will be given a way not only to learn, but a way to share. A truly great handbook is one that is constantly updated with new information. Through the website and Facebook page for this series, we'll build a community and share updates to the handbook. So even if you have a first edition, as further editions are released, you'll have access to all the new information. I also intend your experience to be an interactive one as you are reading these volumes. If you have questions, I invite you to post on the Facebook page or email me. I don't think this is an interesting conundrum. I don't think this email address will work. So I'm not going to give that to you. Just write to me at Lynda Lamp at lindalamp.com. Or you can call me. The 800 number does work. It's 1-855-763-LOVE, which is 5683. But you can also just call my cell, which is 907-351-3003. You can text that as well. Together, we'll build a network, not just online, but in person, using the system introduced here in these volumes. You'll be equipped to change the world through acts of love, peace, and harmony. If a neighbor or a family member needs help, you'll be able to start your own Angels Care Inc. and get things taken care of. You'll be able to start your own heart circle using the model of Love by Light, or you'll be able to find one to attend. We'll use We Love Us as daily guidance, and people will wear We Love Us wristbands, and businesses will display We Love Us decals in their windows. Finding like-minded people to share community and do business with will be easy. These are lofty dreams, mind you. These systems will be covered in depth in Volume 3, but you are welcome to visit the pages, the website or pages or groups for more information now, or you can email or call me. There is no reason to wait. See the handbook website pages in the Appendix D for the URLs, and I'll be putting them, once these things post, I'll be putting those things in the comments, links for how to get a hold of me or to follow along. Walking Through Your Walls is a serious sounding title, but we are going to have fun together. Although at the moment the title is figurative, it is my firm belief that someday you and I will be literally walking through walls. Yes, physical walls. We'll talk about this in depth in Section 2 of Volume 1. If you're already able to walk through walls, please let me know. The walls we'll walk through together in this handbook are all the walls that keep you from seeing what is truly going on in life. Once you've walked through the walls, you'll find love for yourself, because you have to love yourself before you can offer love to others. I'm here to play the role of the lamp, shining the light on the road you're on. I'm here to light the way. Our shared parent is laughing that the girl who sees in the darkness and who came here to shine a light on earth has the initials LAMP. That's a story I'll save for another time. It's not significant to the handbook, but it is a great story. Picture yourself driving down a country road at night. You can only see as far as the headlights illuminate, and just a tad of what you are passing, just what the light of your headlight illuminates around you. You don't stop because you can't see. Even though you can't see more than 100 feet ahead of you, you're comfortable barreling down the road at 45 or 55 or 65 miles an hour. That takes faith. Life is a bit like traveling down that dark country road. You really don't know where you're headed. You really can't see where you're going. You can't even see where you're passing by. But off you go anyway. Life takes faith. And quite often we find we have more faith in driving down that dark country road than we do in getting up in the morning. Sometimes life is hard to have faith in. Now imagine I'm riding along with you, and I have a huge flashlight. And with my light, you can see not only where you're going, but what you're passing all around and where you've been. But you can also really see where you are. You'll no longer be blind to anything. I'm going to take you into the trees, and you will see the forest. And somewhere along the way, you're going to realize that I'm not shining a light. Not in front of you, not around you. I'm not shining anything. You are the light. And in that moment, you will see what I see. You will see the forest. You will see the trees. You will see the connections. You will see through the walls to your inner truth. That's my role here. I am part of what Diane Collins in her book Quantum Think calls wisdom distribution channels. This handbook is an undertaking of revelation. Through the distribution of universal wisdom, you are going to find help here. Some questions of yours will be answered. Some mysteries will be explained. If there's any part of you that is not happy, here is help to help find your light within, to allow your happiness to flow. If you are not living your life to your spirit's highest possible expression, here is support you need to flourish to your best, finest. If you're ready to start shining your light into the world, moving the message of oneness and mindfulness to others, but you don't know where to start, there is help here for you. If all these ideas are completely new to you, but you are curious, here is a light along the way for you to begin your exploration. I will help you find those white rocks marking the way home, just like you were Hansel and Gretel. Whatever challenge you may experience, here is help to overcome it. Wherever you are in life, wherever you dream of going, here is help to achieve your desires. I honor you as you are, whatever physical form you have taken, and in whatever mindset you bring to this reading in these volumes. I am inviting you to come into a new knowingness, a knowingness that comes not from me, but from within you. Not from the voices in your head or from what those around you tell you, but from your core being, from your soul, from your spirit. I am inviting you to understand once and for all how life is really working here. On this planet we call Earth, in this physical reality that we call the third dimension. I am inviting you to become the true you. This handbook here is here to help you open up to yourself. It's about you discovering your spirit's fullest potential. It's about you loving yourself beyond anything you have considered at a depth and breadth that when you allow your love to flow through you, connects you to every other being on this planet. It connects you to everything, animate and inanimate. In that state, everything, the universe and beyond, feels your love. And love will come rushing back to you tenfold. It is also how you will change the world. You are an amazing, out of this world, fantastic, powerful, celestial light being, made of the universe and infinitely powerful, with the gifts of all creation at your fingertips, just for the asking, for the good of the whole. Few of you will resonate with that description right now, but I challenge you to stay with me, finish this handbook, work your way through the volumes, and then read this introduction again, or read this introduction again after the first volume even, and then see whether you arrive in a moment of agreement and marvel with me. We, humanity, are currently surrounded with negativity, fear, gloom, and doom, hate, and loathing in our physical world. I wrote this 4 years ago, and I believe that we are exponentially further along the way for many. For many, it's hard to feel hopeful. Although that has shifted a little, it's still hard to feel hopeful for many. The world I see and feel emerging is a world that embraces the oneness and the nowness messages of this handbook. The book market is flooded with self-help, health and healing, enlightenment, and many, many books and authors. And light work and change and leadership books. There are many, many, many books and authors out there who are great value. What makes this handbook different is that it gathers up all the salient points from start to finish with exercises, solutions, and systems that can be implemented. Life from start to finish. One thing I see is that all the necessary information is out there in the world, but it's too spread out. It's fractured. So this is an attempt to gather things into one place, into a handbook. I'm known as the great organizer. My ability to see patterns has revealed to me a connection between what's going on now in terms of the movement of oneness and peace and what went on in the 1960s. There was a huge love and peace, anti-war movement going on in the 1960s. What happened? What happened is that these are lovely notions, but until we change the way we think, until we change the way we behave, until we change ourselves, peace will elude us. While it appears that the peace and love movement is getting a revival, with more and more organizations founded, there are almost 2,000. All right, now remember, this was written 4 years ago. These numbers have exponentially increased, what I'm about to say. I shouldn't have looked up. I lost my place. There are also almost 2,000 terrorist and anti-government organizations in the United States alone, and those numbers are also on the rise. Humanity's dream of global peace lies in the hearts of many, but the disillusionment of hate, the result of fear, lives in many too. In the meantime, we have evolved as a species. We are capable of so much more than we realize. You are capable of more you ever used to be. This handbook gives you what the 1960s never did. It gives you a plan. It gives you structures to work with. It's not too late to make changes to save the planet. To say it's too late, or we have to act soon, or fast, is to declare ourselves without hope. And all that surrounds us hears our lack of faith and responds accordingly. This handbook gives you straightforward formulas and systems and simple directions to make astounding changes in your world in the areas of peace, love, and joy. The next Buddha is a Sangha, is a saying in the oneness community, which means that the way to enlightenment will be as community. It will be a community of Gaia, of infinite unconditional love, of oneness. Hold knowing this, that everything is absolutely perfect and unfolding exactly as intended by the Great One Mind. You are here to play your part. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Other people are not your business. You are your business. Keep your attention on yourself in the now and ensure that you are being the greatest person you can be. This handbook will show you the way to loving yourself and loving everyone else. Armed with the formulas and structures of We Love Us, Love by Light, and Angels Care, you'll easily be able to bring the callings of oneness, infinite love, and forgiveness into your daily life. While you and I can't walk through physical walls yet, wouldn't you like to go through your days in a state of joy, bursting at the seams with happiness all the time? You can live a life of bliss once you understand what's going on around you. I promise you that. Let's begin the journey of exploration, Volume 1, Discovery, Volume 2, and Creation, Volume 3, together, shall we? And I close with a quote from Stephen Grillette. I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. So we have about 15 minutes left to the hour, if I read for an hour. And that would bring us to starting Section 1. So I think we'll go ahead and do that. Section 1 starts with the halls of history. Napoleon Bonaparte said, history is a set of lies agreed upon. Chapter 1, starting at the beginning. It's another quote, Kenneth Stamp. With the historian, it is an article of faith that knowledge of the past is a key to understanding the present. As I sat down to write this book, one of the things I struggled with the most, once I actually started, which was a struggle in itself, was where to start, how to start. Like jelly on the wall. William Heseltine said, writing intellectual history is like trying to nail jelly to the wall. It's easy to write about something new when one is the expert. It's going to be easy for me to write about the ideas I want to share with you about living consciously in the 21st century and of the experience that have led me to these ideas. However, when it comes to the topic of the history of life, we are all experts because we each have our own experiences. There are as many versions of history as there are countries, and there are as many versions of how life works as there are people living. You, as you read this, bring to the reading your own unique interpretation of these words. I hope your heart, mind, and soul will hear my words with the passionate and infinite love that I hold for you and all that exists in this third dimension physical realm. I hope you will receive these words with an open mind. We can bring upon ourselves much agony if we care to study the true accountings of the settling of America or the slave trade, to name just two of the thousands of autocracies. Thousands of atrocities. It's hyphenated, so it's like, what happened here? The thousands of atrocities that have taken place on this planet. As a species, we humans have shown ourselves capable of horrendous deeds against each other and all that crosses our paths. I may be overstating it, but it is my impression that most of our hideousness is hidden from us by those in power. History books get edited, the atrocities downplayed or omitted. Recently, I saw a movement by some radical faction claiming the Holocaust didn't happen, practicing the same tactics practiced at the time. Just keep telling them that you want them to believe, and eventually they believe. As Napoleon Bonaparte's quote, "History is a set of lies agreed upon," suggests, what we know of history is generally only what the powers that have decided to tell us. Adolf Hitler said, "If you tell a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, it will be believed." He also said, "By the skill and sustained use of propaganda, one can make people see even heaven as hell, or an extremely wretched life as paradise." And just an aside, we've seen an awful lot to relate to this in the last 4 years. There might come a day when knowledge of the Holocaust is lost to the ethers because the powers that be decide to delete those chapters from the history books. But what has already been lost from the history books? And I'll make it another aside that this summer, because of what happened in the summer of 2020, suddenly all kinds of pieces of history, American history, that have been hidden are surfacing, and things that have been omitted from history books. Not pretty pictures. So how do we create peace and harmony when there are people who believe that what happened did not happen, or what is real is not real? Who have interpreted the information they've received to arrive at conclusions that can only be described as fringe, illogical, or crazy? What is happening in our world of social media and instant messaging? How easy is it with today's technology to rewrite history or create new fallacies? Boy, didn't we just live through all of that. We've had some great examples lately. Now, this was 4 years ago. A woman who was recently elected official decided to rewrite state and federal law by refusing to issue marriage licenses. I'm sure we all remember this one, to people she didn't like based on her own personal beliefs. She used her position of power to try and change the law of the land. Social media enabled the woman to garner the planet's attention. Not only did she get her 15 minutes of fame and then some, she then received the support of a number of other people, including presidential candidates. Only a tiny fraction of humanity agreed with her, but she had enough supporters to perpetuate the message of hate, to raise money for her in the name of hate. These people are living their lives in fear, and they have no idea what they're doing. How about the completely fraudulent attack about Planned Parenthood? People use technology to create false videos showing things that never happened, conversations that never took place, total lies. And yet there will likely always be people who now think the worst of that organization. For me, there's no clearer indicator that humanity has lost its collective mind when we see acts of hate. Time and time again, we hear one version of a story only to find out days later that nothing that was reported was true. A hero murdered while chasing 3 suspects really becomes some crazy lunatic who staged his suicide and was pathological and criminal. A person with a GoFundMe account to raise money for his cancer treatment is revealed not to have cancer. A child writes a book about a past life he remembers, but it's really a hoax. I could go on and on. We just lived through 4 years of much of a hoax. I remember when I was a child in school. The entire study of history made me ill because it didn't match up with what I knew in my heart we were supposed to be doing here on this planet. When we were asked to memorize the years of certain wars, it literally made me sick to my stomach, and I refused to do it. One argument I used to avoid such memorization was that I really didn't see any value in cluttering up my head with information I could look up in the history book if I ever needed to know which year some war took place, which for the life of me, I couldn't fathom needing to know. I didn't know about Jeopardy at the time. I hated the argument that we learn history so we don't repeat it. How blind the people must be who believe such a statement. Every war repeats man's incessant quest for power and dominion over others, feeding the culture of hate in its self-service to wage war. The other problem I had, which I was never comfortable expressing, was that we shouldn't be remembering wars. As a kid, I was still trying to sort out my weird relationship with the world. Because I've always known with every fiber of my being that we're here to love, the fact that I was having to learn about wars and other horrible things really troubled me beyond measure. History can be about so many things, but the focus is always on power and conquest. Carl Sagan said, "We make our world significant by the courage of our questions and the depths of our answers." If we came here to experience heaven on earth, why is it that the very earliest humans didn't get along? Some would suggest that we became erect so we could fight each other better. How sad. How untrue that just has to be. Given my studies of Darwin's premise of evolution, okay, I'm going to start that again. Given my studies, Darwin's premise of evolution is flawed. Since our parental isness and our creative oneness created us and everything we see. So while there is an appearance of evolution that is commonly held, there are enough things that can't be explained that go to support alternative views. One need only study the radial jaw shark, the helicoprion, that's Helicopprion, to see that evolution can't be the only answer. Clearly, that was a design that didn't work, and it wasn't the result of any evolution. Who thought of that is the question that always comes to mind when I see such unusual creativity. But I may be getting ahead of myself here. Suffice it to say at the moment that there is a lot of disagreement as to how humans came into being, thus my questioning of evolution. More likely, something like chaos or discontinuity occurred, similar to Noam Chomsky's discontinuity theory about the development of language. There is also a lot of disagreement overall about how language arose or what the first language was. Science tells us the first humans arose in what would be the region now called Ethiopia. That would suggest that all languages, some 6,000 now, stem from one language, with an estimated origin of perhaps 100,000 years ago. But given how science is constantly finding and revealing new theories, that's probably not how things really went down. We may never know. Starting at the beginning, a slippery slope indeed. It is like nailing jelly to the wall. We tend to think of original humans as spear-throwing, warring people. This depiction makes no sense to me since there's safety in numbers and building communities seems easier than fighting. Since, as you will come to understand, I see us as connected, it's hard for me to think we were so disconnected back in the beginning. Creation in the third dimension is a whole lot harder than we realized when we all started out, is all I can figure. Something unexpected happened. Back in the 1920s, some Australopithecus remains, so it's Australian, right? Australopithecus remains were discovered in what is now Botswana, along with a skull. The material found included tools made from the bones of gazelles, antelopes, and wild boar. The archaeologists working there mistakenly interpreted them as a cache of weapons, while later testing show the points were simply for digging in termite holes. What a perfect example of how difficult it is to know what's real and true. This is why with everything you need to take it to yourself, into your core, into your heart, and sit with it. Feel it. And know for yourself whether it is true for you or not. Or whether it is true for you or what is true for you. The only way you truly start at the beginning is to go within. You are a creator. And when you are connected to your great parent, all is provided to you and available to you more than you can dream of. This is why what shows up is always something greater than what you asked for. As long as when you ask, your heart is in the right place. Would you love to live in a world where each person created his or her own wonderful life from the inside out, and where there was no need to compete or be afraid? Can you think of 5 ways your life would improve if you didn't have to worry or be afraid? What if there's nothing to be afraid of? Sit quietly, go within, ask your inner guidance system, your spirit, to lead. Breathe into your belly and quiet your mind. What do you feel when asked the question, what if there's nothing to be afraid of? What would I do if I had nothing to be afraid of? Listen to your answers and write them down. It's a perfect place to stop. There was a footnote. See learning how to breathe in the supplement at the end of this book, and also the quote at the end of this section. Yesterday is Bill Keane. Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. So perfect timing. It's 2:00. I think we'll end here. If anybody wants to make any final comments or anything before we go, that would be great. I'll hope to see you here on Tuesday at the same time. We'll do a Q&A. So if you do have any questions, you can feel free to email them to me at Lynda Lamp at lindalamp.com, or you can text them to me at 907-351-3003, and I'll be sure to include them in my responses on Tuesday. And as I said at the beginning, in case you missed it at the beginning, I'll come on time, and if I have some submitted questions, I'll address them, and I'll handle anybody that's here. If there's nobody here, then once I'm done with any questions that we have, we'll go ahead and conclude the broadcast. So it's not going to be for a set hour or two. It can be open-ended, so I don't have a time frame for closure on Tuesdays. So if we have lots of questions or we want to get into a discussion, we can certainly do that. I have the latitude to go longer than an hour as well. So thank you again. Thank you, Mary, for the comment. So blessed to have you there with me and everybody else that joined me today. And please feel free to share the information with others. We'll hope to be as supportive to as many people as possible. So until Tuesday or next Sunday, namaste, much love.